For a neighbourhood which started in 1951, this estate's reputation has indeed grown over the years.
Very quiet, safe. We could walk out without any fear. Other places is difficult. Sometimes in the late evening we can't walk, but here you can walk, and we've been enjoying it so much good here.
While it was established during the height of racial segregation in Kenya,
when the Asians came in, formerly they used to stay they called India Street, now it's called Moi Street. It was Indian Street, where you find all the temples of the town.
Wahindi ndio walikuwa wanaishi huko. Wahindi estate kama hii hapa ni Waafrika walikuwa naishi na huko ni Wahindi.
But now the area has shifted drastically from its past. We return to Eldoret town to discover a growing metropolis. But this may well be where it all began.
This was the beginning of Eldoret. Sababu Eldoret ilianzia sasa hapa. Ikajaminate sasa ikiwa sasa town kuelekea wapi? Juu. Ndio tukakuwa na Asian West na African West.
Just meters from the town center, the neighborhood has gained access to the best that the growing Eldoret area has to offer.
We have the music school. We also have the PlayStation, the gaming station, from where we have all the PS5 machines, the racing car seat, and also the pool table area that has from where a client can come and do the pool table thingy, and also still do the foosball.
We visit this estate's alluring structures as well as its eerie ruins on an episode of Area Code, which introduces you to Eldoret's West Indies neighborhood. It takes you barely 5 minutes to commute from Eldoret town to West Indies estate. It's close proximity to the bustling town life that lures Eldoret's upper middle class to feel proud to call this neighborhood their home. West Indies, as we discovered, has quite a reputation in this region. But the estate's story did not begin quite so elegantly. The year is 1951. And the first Asians are adopted into the Eldoret Municipal Council, marking the start of an influx of the community into the then small town within a span of 10 years. By the year 1960, close to 3,500 Asians were calling Eldoret their home. But the colonial masters had predicted the growing numbers. That is why, in 1954, nearly 250 acres of land was set aside to house the growing Asian population.
When the Asians came in, formerly they used to stay they called India Street, now it's called Moi Street. It was Indian Street, where you find all the temples of the town. You have a mosque, you have the Sikh temple, you have the Hindu temple, you have the the Aga Khan people, they have built there on the same street. So you can say, I always joke that all the Mungus are staying on the same street.
Many of the Asians had arrived as part of laborers constructing the railway line for the white man at the turn of the 20th century. But because segregation was still practiced, racial class systems were enforced on the growing population. Asians were not allowed to live with Europeans who settled on the highland side of the town.
They thought of giving a part of Eldoret to the Asian community, the Indian community. It was called Eldoret West. Like you have the Europeans staying in Eastern Avenue, Eldoret, Elgin View, and then you have Eldoret North and whatever.
Gurnam Sabharwal's parents had arrived into the country in the 1930s. At the time, Asians had won the right to own property, at least on paper. But only few of them actually held title deeds to their land. The west of Eldoret town was largely set aside for the Asian community, while the Europeans settled on the eastern side of the town. As such, the area designated for the Asians was generally known as Eldoret West.
It was always called Eldoret West. How it came into existing to West Indies is when the Asians started settling in this area. All the Indians, Muslims, Sikhs and the Hindus, Gujaratis, they all came into this area. So because Indians were staying here, the local people started calling West Indians, West Indies. That's how the name came into existence, West Indies, which is now, of course, on the maps and on everywhere you see it is written West Indies. It is now very popular name.
In 1954, a group of residents came together to start this union club at the heart of West Indies Estate. It would become a pioneer establishment where the community gathered ever so oftenly.
It was a wooden structure with a tandarua on top where our elders could sit and talk and share ideas. Then after a few years, our elderly well-off people who say, let me donate money, we build a roof with the mabatis. Then if you look on my right, there's big hall now. Before that, for many, many years, there was a bamboo hall. It was a bamboo hall where we used to have all kind of functions there.
Among the functions held here included the International Hockey Championships hosted in Kenya in 1975, as well as several local school games which have been hosted on these grounds over the years. It's a vision that was born by 45 residents of West Indies Estate more than 6 decades ago. Now, the Sikh Union Club has over 3,000 members.
So there was no other place in Eldoret those years. This was the first place was built for gatherings, as not only for Sikh community, but originally there were many Indians that time, and other British, So they all decided to build, and we built for the community, all the communities to be gathering here.
But the western side of Eldoret town was not only allocated to the Asian community. Africans too got a slice of the pie, although small, in form of an area simply known as West.
West Indies ni sababu kulikuwa na Wahindi wenye walikuwa wanakaa huko. Na hii ingetwa African Indies, nini African West. Sasa umeshika hizo vitu, two things. Na ndio unaona county ya hapa, county council ya hapa ilitengeneza hii ikawa na kila kitu yote, mpaka michezo zilikuwa zinachezewa kwa hii stadium na hii social hall.
The 64 Stadium is the oldest sports facility in Uasin Gichu County and is located in the so-called African West. After independence, more and more natives were allowed to move into the area to look for white-collar jobs in the then purely agricultural town.
So we used to have the biggest stadium in Eldoret, yenye ilikuwa kwa hapa West. Na tukaweza kuishi hapa kwa miaka mingi, tukiwa tunafurahia. By that time tulikuwa na watch movies, nini, kila kitu, ile faction film, zilikuwa zote zinawachiwa kwa hii, chini ya hii miti. Faction film, iko ingine ilikuwa inakujaga na, ilikuwa sijui inaitwa nini, ilikuwa inakujaga na kibasi kenye kilikuwa kinakuja kinavutwa. So we used to watch it here.
This area, known as Kihuga Square, is the heart of the African side of West Indies. For it is from here where the residents claim the growth of Eldoret town began.
This was the beginning of Eldoret. Sababu Eldoret ilianzia sasa hapa. Ikajaminate sasa, ikiwa sasa town kuelekea wapi? Juu. Ndio tukakuwa na Asian West na African West. Sasa kila kitu yote ilikuwa kutokea hapa.
Kihuga Square is named after a prominent Kenyan who was among the first Africans to live in West Indies. Alongside several of his peers, they helped set up businesses and shops on the African side of West Indies, setting base for the next crop of residents here.
Alikuwa mtu mkubwa sana. Sababu by that time they used to bake. Hawa ndio walikuwa na nini ya kubake mamikate. Mahali penye tulikuwa tunaendaga tunakula mkate, unachukua kimkate kenye kilikuwa kinakaa kama nini hivi.
Kihuga's bakery was started in 1959. His son, Anthony Kimani Kihuga, still runs the shop his father started 62 years ago.
Baba yangu alikuwa elderman kwa kanzo ya Eldoret. Sasa majina vile unajua wenyeji walikuwa naita kama ni estate inaitwa jina ya mtu. Hapa ikaitwa, akapewa hiyo nafasi ya kuitwa Kihuga Square. Ka square haka unaona kamejengwa hivi.
The place feels as vintage as it looks, with old model shops still dotting the 10-acre piece of land that forms the shopping center in West. Even though at the time the adults were forbidden from interacting with each other, that did not prevent the children from mingling freely despite the racial barriers within West and West Indies.
Wengi hawakuwa wanakuja pani, wanaweza kuja kutembea, hawakatazi. Sisi tunaweza enda huko kutembea kwa sababu ni karibu na mtoni. Unajua vijana wanapenda kwenda karibu na mitoni kuona nini, kuona saa ile wanachoma Wahindi, mnaenda kujiangalilia wakichoma vitu kama hivyo.
The Europeans used to never mix us up. So they would put the Africans on this side, Asians on this side, and Africans were allotted that area for building.
Did you ever used to cross there as a child?
Yes, we used to, because our workshop is on that side. When we were young schooling, we used to pass through the Muslim grounds here, the crematorium, the burial places, and cross to our workshop that side. Majengo, there was one called Majengo, yes, that's where most of our workers came from.
It's an interaction that has ultimately led to the significant growth of one of Eldoret's most dynamic neighborhoods. When we return, we explore the amount of industry in the town attracting a niche not sought after before.
It's the one place and the ideal spot from where like a kid can spend a weekend and cost effectively.
We also visit the site of a demolition that saw more than 1,000 families left homeless in the African side of West Indies. Whenever you visit West, it's hard to notice the isolation that grips one of the many neighborhoods within the vast area. That's because this lone area, known as Macharia Estate, has been at the center of controversy since 2013. It's now surrounded by a concrete wall erected by the Uasin Gichu County government not too long ago. But it's only once you step inside the surrounding wall that you get to see the full extent of a conflict that in 2019 saw close to 500 housing units destroyed by the county government bulldozers. 8 years ago, Macharia Estate was roped into a legal suit. Residents of the area, which form part of the larger West Estate in Eldoret town, moved to court after the county government increased rent for the one-roomed houses from 400 to 800 shillings per month. The residents opposed the increased rent rate, terming the move as illegal.
Na hiyo kitu ilitengenezwa na first mayor wa Eldoret. Sababu hapa iko estate nyingi sana zenye zilitengenezwa na municipal yenye ilikuwa Eldoret by that time through his tenure.
The houses owned by the then municipal council were most sought after for their affordable rent rates. But 2 years ago, the government demarcated the area as a site for implementation of the housing project as part of President Uhuru Kenyatta's Big Four agenda. The plan is to have high-rise apartment residential buildings constructed here. As such, on the 13th of August 2019, more than 1,000 people were forcefully evicted from the estate after a notice to leave was issued.
Most of these people ni watu wenye waliishi wakibadilishana na wajukuu yao manyumba. All of a sudden unakuja unabomoa manyumba yao, unazitoa mabati, unafanya kila kitu, and you make it your day. Ile kitu yenye tujawahi ona ikifanyika dunia mzima.
Now, most of the estate remains in ruins. It's a situation that has left the other residents worried about their future here. This otherwise quiet neighborhood is a sharp contrast from the hustle and bustle of one of Eldoret town's main trading markets. The open-air market is an outstanding feature for an area where trade and industry have not been strangers. The estate's close proximity to town is said to be one of the contributing factors to Eldoret's rapidly growing commercial status. The town's skyline heavily features upcoming and newly constructed commercial structures like the Rupa Mall, which sits at the center of the urban area, hoping to tap into Eldoret's growing middle and upper class residents. The facility's fun and fitness center is where most of the town's urban youth now converge. Stephen Okoth teaches music at one of the art schools located within the mall.
We have the music school. We also have like the PlayStation, the gaming station, from where we have like all the PS5 machines, the racing car seat, and also like the pool table area that like has, from where a client can come and do the pool table thingy, and also like still do the football.
With nearly 65% of residents in Eldoret comprising of the youth, investment in the town is shifting from the traditional agricultural sector to the more modern installations like this one, all while trying to push the needle towards making Kenya's 5th largest urban center as competitive as possible.
You find it that this place like giving the artists like a chance, and I'm talking of artists beyond just music, beyond anything, like talking of like the people who are into fitness and all that stuff, them finding like a boxing ring and proper equipment so they can actually practice with. Someone can actually sharpen in the direction of their interests and actually improve upon their skills, and that puts Kenya on like a global map, you get. More of this, like, arising in different counties can actually then give different people whose talents are actually inclined differently and diversely a chance to actually, like, improve upon whatever area of interest they are tagged to.
But the boost in trade and investment in the area has pushed property prices in West Indies estate to astronomical levels.
I have a plot there which I bought again for 15,000 shillings, quarter of an acre. But now people are selling it for 10 million shillings. Buying land in Eldoret is tough now.
The environment is very conducive kwa every person. Sababu hapa hatukujua Muluya, hatukujua Mkikuyu, hatukujua Mkale, hatukujua Mjaka. So we lived a very nice life and a very smooth life.
West Indies has been one of the best places for us. Very quiet, safe. We could walk out without any fear. Other places is difficult. Sometimes in the late evening we can't walk, but here you can walk, and yeah, we've been enjoying it so much good here.
Viongozi yetu wenye tulichagua hapa West Kiuga watutafute, waangalie vile tunaishi vile tunalia shida zetu wajue. Sababu hatuwatambui. Wakitutafuta tutajua huyu ni nani, huyu ni nani. Ndio maisha iendelee. Lakini sasa tunawasikianga juu ya watu. Siku kura itafika watakuja. Lakini saa hii hawawezi kuja. Na saa hii ndio iko shida kubwa.